Hey everybody, and welcome to Slowpoke Racing and to the Ultimate Racing League for our BTCC Replica Championship. We are really ploughing through this championship, and with only a few rounds left, we are at, where are we at? We are at round 8, so yes, only 3 rounds of this championship to go, and things are really hotting up. Just before we get into that, I do want to give a shout out to our sponsors, W.GG, the energy drink for gamers, and also Eldridge Air Conditioning, who I really think we need just recently if you're in the UK and this tiny mini heat wave thing we've had. So if you are feeling a bit warm, then get on to Eldridge Air Conditioning, and those guys will come round and cool you down, I'm sure. So that's the sponsors. Now, as I said, things really are hotting up in this championship, and it's all change in the league table, so I'm going to quickly run through it. As I say, we're at round 8, so 3 rounds to go, including this one, and we have a new championship leader, and it is Neil Farmack with 331 points, just tipping Wadru off that top spot, who's sitting there on 328 points. Third is Stormfly on 280 points. Fourth is Brian Moncani on 259. Fifth is Grasshopper on 229. So that's your top 5. So as I say, all change. It was all Wadru, wasn't it? But Neil Farmack, after putting in some good performances, has managed to get himself up there on the top, albeit by 3 points. But he's up there, isn't he? So, for round 8, we've come over to Italy, to the fictional track of Sardegna, and we're on the C layout, the smaller track. It's only 1.6 miles. There are 10 turns, pretty fast flowing, pretty good track actually, and ideally suited for these road cars, these tuned road cars. And if you want to know all the rules, then it's probably a good idea if you head over to Thingamajig's Racing channel. He actually covers League 2, and there are some absolutely stonking races to be had and seen in League 2. And Thingamajig's commentary is, well, the enthusiasm is just unbelievable. But very early on, he did go through all of the rules and tell you about all of the cars and things like that. So if you want to check that out, go over to Thingamajig's Racing channel. Find one of the early races for League 2, and he'll explain everything about these cars. So on to this race then. We're going to have a look down the grid. I'm pressing all sorts of buttons here, and I shouldn't be. We're going to have a look down the grid. This is after 10 minutes of qualifying. And let's get the camera so we can have a look. And as you can see, Neil Farmack has managed to get himself up on pole. So he's really having a bit of a late surge, isn't he? He's topping the league table, and he's actually got himself on pole. Only his second time on pole, believe it or not, but he has had 9 podium finishes, so that's probably why he's up there. But yeah, only his second time on pole for Neil, but he's up there now. Grasshopper just sitting behind him. He really has got to grips with that BMW now. Struggled, I think, for the first couple of rounds, but once he found his form, he's putting himself up there now, and he's currently sitting 5th in the league table, and second just behind Neil Farmack on the grid. Brian Moncani sitting there in 3rd. Brian as well having a good run of late, getting himself up on the podium, and he seems to be very quick round here as well, doesn't he? So 3rd on the grid for Brian Moncani. Stormfly in 4th. He'll be disappointed he's where he is in the grid. It's 3rd in the league table, 4th on the grid, but he has missed a few rounds through holidays, whatever. So I'm sure he'll want to get up there and get himself up there in front as soon as possible. Wadru, early league leader, and well, it's just all come undone for him, hasn't it? These last few rounds, not had a win since Nürburgring at round 6, and well, he hasn't been on the podium since. He's had a couple of disastrous rounds, so I'm sure he'll want to put them behind him and make amends this time out. Scooby in 6 on the grid in the BMW. Unforgiven in 7th in the Merc. Not been a fantastic season for Unforgiven. I'm sure he's enjoyed it anyway, but I'm sure he'd want to be a bit further up the league table than where he is. Stealth in 8th in the only Focus on the grid. If you do like the look of the Focuses and want to watch them, then go to League 2. It is a Focus fest, as I've said on many occasions. It is flooded with them. But Stealth is the only one in the Focus in League 1. Nath is in 9th. Now, I don't know about Nath. I think he's a new driver to the league. I'm not sure. I may have missed him, but it's a new name to me. So looking forward to seeing what Nath can do. He's in the Mercedes. And then we've got Brownie in 10th in the Honda Civic. Been struggling really in that Honda. It's a good car, but it's just not competitive enough, I don't think, when you've got the likes of the BMWs and the Mercedes out in front. So although Brownie, quick driver, I think it's the car that's kind of letting him down a little bit. So, but he's still there and he is still fighting away. And that's what it's all about. So back up to the top and we can get this race underway. So we've got 3 races for you, 3 15-minute races around Sardegna, around this C layout. And this is the first of those 3. Now let's just have a quick look. This is an early morning race. We've got one in the afternoon and one at sunset. As Neil Farmack leads us around these first few turns, around turns 2 and 3. Now there are no corner names because it is fictional, so we may just make some up, I don't know, as we go along. We shall see. So around turn 4 then, and then into sort of a set of S's at 5, 6, 7 and 8. And this is a very, very quick section, but you've got to be careful of these barriers because they do step out on you. And already the gap's starting to open up actually, so Scooby just trying to stay in touch with the guys up ahead. He's got Unforgiven just behind him in 7th. Stealth, well, a few car lengths gap now between himself and Unforgiven in 7th, and then we've got Brownie who's made a place up already, and Nath down in 10th. Not a great start for him in what I think is his first race, so maybe just treating this one as a bit of a practice, just get a feel of the car, how it handles. It's not like your normal Group 3, Group 4 cars. You do have to be a little bit more careful under braking, and they do tend to like to slide around a lot as well actually. So Nath will probably treat this one as a bit of a practice. But back up to the front, and Neil Farmack still out in front on the second lap already, so very, very quick laps around Sardegna. Grasshopper really putting him under the pressure. Stormfly sitting in 3rd. He's already managed to get by Brian, so Brian drops down to 4th as they go around this very, very tight hairpin at turn 10, back onto the start-finish straight. Then it is 650-metre sprint all the way down to the entry into turn 1, and Brian will try and get in that slipstream. Somebody who is in the slipstream is Grasshopper, so let's jump on board with him as we go into turn 1. Quick look behind us, and we've got Stormfly already all over the back of us. So Grasshopper will be keeping an eye on that. So through the left-hander, then into another left-hander at turn 4, trying to nick a bit of the curb. You can't take too much because of the grass. And then we're into this downhill section of S's. Again, ooh, getting a bit squirrely there from Grasshopper. Held it well though. Trying to keep the pressure on Neil Farmack. Doesn't want to let him get too far away. Then we're already into turn 10. And back onto this start-finish straight. Grasshopper desperately trying to get in the slipstream of Neil Farmack, get that BMW working. Stormfly, he's hanging on to the coattails of Grasshopper at the minute, is Stormfly. Let's leave Grasshopper to it. Stormfly in 3rd. He's coming under attack from Brian Moncani. Brian Moncani having a look around the outside now then. Is he going to get that done? No, he's looking at the cutback. Stormfly was wise to that one and slammed the door shut. He says, no sir, you are not coming through, but Brian Moncani is not going to rest on that. He is pushing Stormfly all the way. Those coupes very, very quick, as we've seen in the past. And Brian Moncani really putting the pressure onto Stormfly. Wadrow, he needs a good couple of rounds, doesn't he? Get himself back up there on top of the league table, of 3 points adrift of Neil Farmack at the minute. And the problem he's got is Neil Farmack is actually leading this race while he's down in 5th, so this will actually stretch Neil's lead at the top a little bit further. So Woodrow, I think Woodrow could do with a good round really. get his confidence back up again, get his head in the right place. Scooby in 6th then. See a little bit of a gap opening up between Brian Moncani and Wadru. I'm sure Wadru will want to close that up as soon as he can. Scooby just sitting behind Wadru, following him around at the minute in that BMW, or is he going to have a look at the inside as they approach turn 4? He's trying to position that car, isn't he? Having a bit of a look. I think it's more just to get himself in the mirrors of Wadru to let him know he's there. Unforgiven in 7th. He's got Stealth for company as we go through the S's through turn 7, 8 and then 9, and then up this hill towards turn 10. Tricky spot really. You're not quite sure where to apply the brakes, and likewise on the exit apply the power. But Unforgiven and Stealth both go through there very successfully. So Stealth just trying to close that gap. The Focus usually very quick in a straight line and should be able to start reeling Unforgiven in. But the problem with the Focus is it is very slidey in the corners. Very quick in a straight line, but the corners it does let itself down a little bit. The front end tends to like to slide a lot. But Stealth doing a good job actually. Oh, there we go, you see. Another big slide from Stealth, and that's cost him a few tenths actually. Unforgiven's able to just pull away from him. So poor old Stealth there after that big slide has just lost touch of Unforgiven. Brownie down in 9th, big gap from Stealth to Brownie, and Nath at the back. So these two struggling a little bit. Like I say, it is not the driver, it is the car. I think for Brownie it's a good car, it's just not able to compete with the Mercs and the BMWs and that Genesis that are all in front. But Brownie will keep going. He's going to have his own private little battle with the new driver, Nath. So as I said, Nath just testing the water with this car. It might be his first outing in that Mercedes actually, so got to get used to it a bit. And he's going to have a bit of a battle with Brownie just to see how he likes the feel of it. So back up to the top, Neil Farmack doing an absolute awesome job, and pulling away from Grasshopper now. He's managed to get himself a bit of a gap. So whether Grasshopper has had a bit of a moment that we missed, but Neil Farmack has definitely opened up a slight gap. So Grasshopper's going to need to try and close that one up. Now tyre wise, you have to use mediums in at least one of the races, so it is softs and medium tyres. And mediums must be used in at least one race. All of the guys, I'm pretty sure, are on soft tyres for race number 1. Then we will probably see a bit of a mix-up. Grasshopper usually likes to run the medium tyres in race 2, so we'll see how he goes. Brian Moncani back up into 3rd then, so he's managed to get a move done on Stormfly and get himself a little bit of a breathing gap. Nothing too massive, and Stormfly will come back at him. Stormfly, as we've seen before, very quick. We call him the Flying Dutchman, and for a very good reason as well, as he has a look at the inside of Brian Moncani at turn 10. Just couldn't quite get it done. Brian Moncani managing to hold on to P3. But Stormfly is all over him, so let's jump on board with Stormfly in his BMW as we head down towards turn 1. Is he going to have another look, a late lunge into turn 1? I don't think he will. He's just going to keep the pressure on Brian Moncani. A quick look behind us, and there's no pressure whatsoever from Wadru at the minute. He's just too far back, so Stormfly can put all his concentration into getting that P3 back off of Brian Moncani. We have just gone over the 8-minute mark. Oh, and a bit of a mistake from Brian Moncani, and Stormfly's on it. Wow, he's like a coiled spring, is he? Ready to pounce, and off he goes. A slight mistake from Brian Moncani, and Stormfly's in there. And opened up a gap as well. Oh no, that's a mistake from Stormfly. He just got too excited, I think, from that overtaking. Brian Moncani couldn't believe his luck. Says, thank you very much, sir. And slides on through into 3rd again, so normal service resumed. Brian Moncani back in 3rd, Stormfly in 4th, and a bit of a battle raging behind. So let's go and have a look at that, shall we, as Wadru and Scooby go side by side through turn 1. and you want to be careful of that gravel out there. Woodrow just holding on, but no, Scooby got that inside line as they come up towards turn 4. Scooby's still on the inside and has just got his nose in front, so it is BMW against Mercedes as they enter into this S section at turn 6, 7, 8 and 9, and it is Scooby. A fantastic move on Woodrow, so Scooby now moves up into 5th, Woodrow 6th. Then we've got Unforgiven. He's starting to creep up onto the back of these oars. Woodrow goes, oh wow, Woodrow got himself all sorts of wrong there. Let's have a look and see what happened. Did he catch the grass, or was he just showboating? I don't know. He may have just flicked the handbrake to try and do a bit of a naughty manoeuvre. No, he just got it completely wrong, didn't he? And slam into barrier. Well, it just that sums up his last few weeks actually for Woodrow. Pushing too hard, I think, and he's lost about 3 places there as Unforgiven goes through, Stealth goes through, and Scooby takes full advantage. So Scooby up into 5th. He can just about see Stormfly up ahead. Unforgiven now, couldn't believe his luck either. He is now up into 6th. Stealth in 7th. Woodrow in 8th. Bit of work for him to do now if he wants to try and gain something back out of this, but that is not going to help his title chances. Remember, 3 points separating himself and Neil Farmack, but Neil Farmack still out in front and leading this race. Brownie down in 9th, and a big gap then back to the new driver Nath, who is still, as I say, getting a feel for the car and how it handles. Not like your normal cars, as I mentioned earlier. These things do tend to slide around a lot, especially under braking, so I'm sure Nath will get it sorted, ready for races 2 and 3. Back up to the top then, and we're with our race leader and current fastest lap holder as well, a 56.1 seconds. That's how quick these laps are. So let's have a look at the time. Just gone over the 11-minute mark, so 4 minutes to go. So we are looking at probably another three laps of this, but Neil Farmack still doing a fantastic job, led right from the off. Grasshopper still, well, he's sticking with him, isn't he, Grasshopper? He's not letting him get too far away, not close enough to put him under any pressure at the minute, but he's close enough to just let Neil know he's there, so Neil can't let his guard down. Then we've got quite a decent gap then back to Brian Marcani, who's still sitting in 3rd with Stormfly, desperately trying to catch up and take that P3 away. Stormfly could do with the points as well. He's currently sitting in 3rd with Brian Marcani just sitting behind him. What is it now? There's 21 points separating Brian Marcani and Stormfly, so these will be decent points for Brian. Give him a chance to claw a few points back if it stays like this. Scooby still in 5th. Having a good race is Scooby. He's loving his out there, isn't he, in that BMW. Starting to get to grips with it, the same as Grasshopper. A bit of a slow start for Scooby, but I think he's used to it now. Probably could do with another 10 rounds. And the BMWs will really start to come into their own. Unforgiven in the Mercedes. Again, I think he could probably do with another 10 rounds. Now he's starting to get used to the car. Stealth sitting in 7th, just ahead of Woodrow. Woodrow, after that big spill at turn 10 a few laps ago, lost about 3 places, didn't he? But he's looking to try and gain one now. He's going to try and put Stealth under a bit of pressure as we around turn 1 for the 14th time. Stealth then just managing to stay ahead of Woodrow. Woodrow, all sorts of issues for him over the last couple of weeks. Excuse me. As they both kick up a little bit of dust and dirt there going across the grass. It's like I say, it's a very fast flowing track, this one, but there is danger on practically every corner as Woodrow tries to put the pressure on Stealth. Stealth having to slow down to get that focus to turn into turn 10. Woodrow gets a much better entry and exit out of that now if he can get into the slipstream. that he can make a move. We're just going to stay with Rodro at the minute. Is he going to make a move on Stealth as they cross the start-finish line and head down towards turn 1? Is he close enough? No, I don't think he is. And Stealth holds on to P7. Brownie still in 9th with Nath in 10th. We are just approaching the last minute of this race as Neil Farmack and Grasshopper go up the hill towards turn 10. This tight left-handed hairpin, and Grasshopper having a right good sniff around the rear end of Neil Farmack's car. Jump on board with Neil Farmer, and if we have a look in the mirror, that's what we can see as we go across the start-finish line for the final time. And Neil Farmack has just got to hold on for one more lap as Grasshopper gets right up personal and close into turn 1, but a good exit from Neil Farmack maintains that gap. We're just going to stick with these two, I think. Excuse me, because Grasshopper really is putting the pressure on now. He's throwing everything he's got at Neil Farmack. Neil Farmack just soaking it up though. He's like a sponge, he just soaks it up. It doesn't bother him. As they approach turn 10, the hairpin, Grasshopper trying to go around the outside. Is he looking at the cutback? He is looking at the cutback, but he can't get the exit. No, he couldn't get the power down quick enough, and Neil Farmack is going to cross the line to take the win. Well done to him. Grasshopper in second. Fantastic racing from those two. Brian Moncarney gets a fantastic third with Stormfly crossing the line in 4th. Scooby, great racing from him in 5th. Unforgiven across the line in 6th. Stealth is going to take 7th, just ahead of Wadru. Nath in 9th. Oh, so Brownie must have had a bit of an issue, or something's gone wrong, because poor old Brownie, he was in 9th, but Nath is now going to take that position. So Nath's first outing, and crossing the line in 9th with Brownie not that far behind in 10th. So that was race 1 here in Sardegna in Italy. Join me very shortly, if you can, for race 2. So I don't know what I was looking for there, but there was something that's not there, so ignore that. Yes, I shall catch you all very shortly for